We are off to a rousing, stumbling, falling, trailing, rolling start. But even with all of the many stumbling blocks that we've experienced thus far this evening, I want to thank you all for spending this time. As you all are aware, this is one of my many favorite activities, probably one of my most favorite activities, getting a chance to play, getting a chance to experience and explore these characters' lives with you all. And as we are 6 minutes past our hard start, this is officially, for the record, Steel Hearts, Rusted Souls, Season 2, episode title is Just as Water Mirrors Your Face. When we last left our coterie, they had managed to do another miraculous thing. They shrugged off the pernicious mental machinations of Clarence Bartleby. They slaughtered his cult, his coven of believers. They wrestled the pernicious flickering tongue from its fleshy Gundam, its freshly dug corpse upon which it was wreaking its foul, baleful touch upon the world. It did not come without a cost, but they succeeded all the same. Returning to the Gary Chantry's prime haven at the Indiana University Northwest, they found themselves held in a secure, protected cell. The newest member of the Chantry, Anand Worth, having negotiated their continued safety throughout the night, left them to discuss several matters amongst themselves. And as the sun broke the horizon line, while they lay safely dying inside the cell, protected from the sun, from all but the most skillful potential Nosferatu, they were all but safe. Each having taken a perch or a corner of the floor or a chair and otherwise made themselves comfortable to die. Now, over the course of this season, over the course of the entirety of their run as a coterie, there have been questions. There have been threats, victories, and losses that they've experienced. But through it all, there's always been a clear-cut path. There's been a way forward. They knew that there were certain things that if they were able to get past, they could continue surviving. Coming face to face with Bartleby, however, presented another unprepared for event. There were things in the world that could break even a monster's heart. One of the seldom addressed was loneliness. Being alone. For all of their actions leaving each other in a lurch, running across various cities, suffering hails of gunfire, underneath it all, each of them have found, at least when they're being honest, that together there's not much they can't surmount. Together there's no hell that they cannot make it to the other side of. Together their strength is incomprehensible. Singly, another matter entirely. There's a desperation that crawls in around the edges. There's a true core of loneliness that radiates a cold frost that threatens to kill every bud of hope. It's too much like being in a grave. It's too much darkness. It's too much scrabbling noises as the beast seeks purchase. Without beating a dead horse overly much, the truth of the matter is, based on trial and error, based on most recent experiences, they can only be defeated when alone. And so we begin in reverse alphabetical order. Mason, your eyes snap open. The words of Ben echoing in your ear, your worry clawing at the inside of your mind, and the image that presents itself to you is not the image your eyes closed on. The room around you is wide and large, the ceiling vaulted, the bed that you're laying upon is more of a cot, and yet the brick walls threaten, the stone floor, thinly carpeted, presents a coolness, and you most assuredly would not be wearing a polyester blend slack. You most assuredly would never dress so monochromatically. You most assuredly, when death claimed you, was not smelling of frankincense, myrrh, and rose. You most assuredly were not alone, but yet here you are, the cell-like room, speaking very ill as to what's happened during the day.
So am I seeing my house?
Inside your mind?
Inside my mind.
Or the scene that I just described?
The scene that you just described.
You have a cell? You sleep in a cell at home and not on a 1,000 thread count silk sheet?
No, I probably don't. Okay.
Your bed is a cot?
Am I back in the, I'm back.
Okay. Do you have servants or retainers that would dress you while you sleep during the day?
No. Okay. I think I know where I'm at. I'm probably in Marianne's secret chamber. Or my own mind prison. Although, or would I know where I'm at? Would I? It's hard to tell. Can I feel like any other presence in the room?
The small cell that you're in holds one dead thing, and that's you. The cell that you are in is not the place where you died for the day. The clothes you are wearing are not the clothes that you died in. There's no Ben, there's no Leonti, there's no Marcus, there's no Duma. There are you, your doubts, and the cell that you are in. The door across the room doesn't show any signs of internal lock. It doesn't look as if it is locked. You are in a cell, which is almost the antithesis to where you were when you died for the day.
Mason screams out, "Where am I? Is anybody there? Can anybody hear me?"
And as your voice echoes on the walls and rebounds back to you, reverberates around you, it's vain. It's certainly uncomfortable to even have such a thought. But as your voice reverberates back to you, you wonder why in life you never pursued becoming a musician, a singer. There's a certain, even in death, there's a certain melodic quality to your voice. You're sure that if you practiced, you could attract others to it, even with it being hollow and dead.
And the point of me thinking I can sing,
That's a good question.
okay, well, even though it's in vain, he'll still yell down the corridor as much as he can till his breath gives out, yelling, "Come on, damn it! Anyone! Is anyone there? Let me out of this goddamn cell!"
And as Mason yells
The chain.
and pounds on the walls, we shift our gaze. Leonti, your eyes snap open. And for the first time in a very long time, you are not beset by your beast. You're not beset by the need to fight the urge to drain your coterie members. You're not beset by the very real idea of imagining them as walking food. What you would never let anyone know, the problem that you have with being where you are, is that Mason is highly attractive. His scent, dead and useless for Leonti, smells like Thanksgiving dinner. His need to touch and be touched by that thin blood, the emotions they arouse in each other, makes him delectable. But that hunger isn't there. That small whisper at the back of his head is, but it's not kicking open any doors. Whatever blood Anand fed you all before you died for the evening has had a surprising effect. And speaking of Anand, and speaking of the previous evening, there is a small heat that you haven't felt previously. It lightly plays over your skin. and you begin taking in your surroundings. Your firearms are across the room, leaning against the wall and laying on the floor, clearly cleaned and put back together. Your clothing is not what you were wearing previously. You're wearing a polyester blend, black on black suit. There's no tie, but these are not the clothes you were wearing the night before. The walls are stone, and the bed you're laying upon is mostly a cot.
Leonetti is confused for a second. Then, remembering his interaction with Bartleby, thinks, I'm in a mindscape again.
You say that, but the sound of your voice echoing back to your ears betrays the fact that you are, in fact, in the real world.
What? Now he actually gets confused. His firearms are within his reach, right?
They're across the room on the floor, leaning against the wall.
As his uncertainty and confusion wells up, he has an uncontrollable urge to go and grab them, and when he does, he feels a sense of calm and a sense of familiarity, of safety, contradictory to the nature of what he's holding.
Nothing like the threat of violence to make everything else seem far less important. The battlefield calm earned over a lifetime and a death makes holding his firearms in preparation for violence the only bit of truth that he understands. The only bit of calm. The only thing that makes sense. The tools in his hands were designed for one task, and that was to end lives. That makes sense. Being away from his coterie, even as a hired man, brings on certain traumas.
As he desperately wishes to get, as he realizes the situation, as those traumas seep into him, he becomes panicked once again. Images of him, he thinks back to the times behind enemy lines, those suicide runs that he barely got out of, where no one could help him. He desperately wants to find the Coterie. He desperately tries to go out, to walk as far as he can, to look for them as hard as he can, for as long as it takes.
Okay, so he opens his door to the cell that he is in, and he hears the muffled cries of Mason, and you hear soft pounding of flesh on stone.
As he hears this, he remembers the mission comes first. running to Mason to get to survey, to see the situation, and to get him out of danger if need be.
Okay. Finding Mason's cell isn't all that hard with his dead voice echoing off the stones and drawing all sorts of attention. And while Leonetti makes it to Mason's door, we shift our gaze. Ben, dying for the day comes with its own learned behaviors. Most kindred for the first 100, maybe 200 years, depending on their idea as to what being a kindred is, will often say that they go to sleep for the day, that they take a day's rest. But Ben was not gifted with that ability to lie to themselves. Ben was not gifted with the sort of sire that said that they were unalive. No, they very much were dead. They very much are the damned. But just because they're dead does not mean they stop existing. They've entered into another state. But they very much are dead. So the sleeping for the day was never an aphorism that appealed. There's something comforting about the idea of revivifying, of resurrecting, of having life beyond death. There's a hope there, an honest one versus a false hope. And so as Ben's eyes snap open, laying on a cot, low enough to the ground where they can guesstimate how tall the ceiling is, the stonework being nothing like what she was surrounded by upon dying for the day. There's no Coterie member to her left or right. Marcus is gone. The box is gone. Mason and Leonetti, and even the doctor, all gone. Ben is alone and dressed surprisingly feminine. Her boots are gone. Her pants are gone. She's instead in silk trousers. Her feet in sensible, though small heels. She smells of frankincense, myrrh, and rose. And she dared not touch her hair, but there's a weight and a stretching, a pulling that lets her know that her hair has been attended to.
It's hard to look around and stop of everything, meaning that she's not where she was left, or not where she fell asleep. Carefully putting her feet on the floor. There's a moment of this is really weird and I'm not happy about it. And then they look back at herself and sees the far too frilly feminine clothing, and that just makes it even worse. Because one, somebody stripped her down and probably saw her naked. And two, the fuck did they put on her? Just, no, you don't like this. So, she stands looking around. Is there anything else in the room except for the cot?
The room is large for one person. It is still cell-like. It is still secure in the fact that instead of being greeted by drywall or wall hangings or wood paneling, no, it's actual stone. Something foreboding about that.
The next thought is, I bet that bitch had something to do with it. He couldn't trust her. And he carefully approaches the door, remembering the lessons he learned last night about the whole lizard movie trapping shit. And carefully touches the door.
It's a solid old-fashioned door, the sort they don't make anymore. It's not hollow inside. It's actually one singular piece of solid wood. But as Ben touches it, it swings lightly open, and you can hear the muffled cries of Mason in the distance and footsteps just outside.
He'd wait to bed if he weren't already dead. Pushing the door all the way open, sticks her head out in the hall to see if she can pinpoint where the sound of footsteps is coming from, and where the sound of Mason is coming from.
Well, that is easily enough to discern. As you push open the door, it's not so much a hall as a dormitory. A good old-fashioned old college dormitory where each of the suites open into what would be a central room. Though the central room in this case, the central dormitory, is large enough where there's at least 9 or 10 rooms such as that Ben is in. Moving past her door, she sees Leonetti moving towards a cell towards the end of the room. From within, there's Mason's voice echoing off the walls, and you hear this soft knocking of flesh meeting stone.
For God's sake, they really did take us to Hollywood. Ugh. Fucking lizard. Following Leonetti towards Mason's voice. You know,
They really did. Oh. Sorry.
Mason, what was it that you're saying again?
Come on, is someone out there, damn it? Get me out of this damn cell!
Like a little bitch.
You idiot, just open the door.
What? I try to open the door.
It swings out into a large dormitory-style central room.
I am amazing. Alright.
Leonetti and Ben are waiting without. It is clear that you all have had the same personal shoppers while you died for the day. Each of you dressed predominantly monochromatic. Ben, of course, having slightly more color. Instead of her shirt being a black or charcoal, it is a deep, vibrant blue. But otherwise, you all are dressed in several states of monochromatic funeral. Each of you smelling as if you've been tended to by an old world.
Did they actually think that we died for good?
Very happy now, please. put anything to kill somebody. When I find out who trusts me this way.
I'll help you.
You've got my pen.
Alright, so with the three of us, we need to find the doctor and Marcus. And when Marcus is, they tell me how to box, because I had the box. And then I don't have the box, so I'm guessing there was Marcus's box.
Good logic.
Yeah.
And from the other end of the dormitory, at the two large doors, there's a rapping that somehow manages to echo through the entire chamber.
Leonetti says, hide. It will be very free. Somebody is going to yell if they did think that we died.
They probably didn't. They're probably testing us, seeing as the doors were unlocked.
Would you lock a corpse's door?
I mean, no, but they could also just be testing us.
Yeah. But so that we can cover our ground, let's try to minimize a freak-out session of a living person walking in on three walking corpses.
There's another knock.
Should we hide?
At least we can obscure ourselves.
What was that, Ben? I missed that.
Then it started playing games, so we just walked over here and yanked it open.
Standing outside the door, it's only about 5'6". She's dressed in a tailed butler's livery. The others would like to know if you all are prepared to engage in the evening.
Okay. I guess.
I'm always down for a party. I guess. Although, the clothes could be better. And also the scenery, too. Do you know why we're down here in the first place?
Yes. Right this way. And she turns on her heels and takes a step away from the door so that you all have opportunity to exit and follow.
I follow.
I follow right behind Mason.
Big kind of turns around and looks at the big face one more time and I follow.
It takes a few moments as you all traipse one hall, up a few stairs, round a corner, down another set of stairs, and finally into an elevator. As you all step out of the elevator, you are in, for lack of a better word, a lab. Though it's a well-appointed, almost office-like lab, it very much is a sort of place where things go boom, where electricity courses through things that probably it shouldn't, and there's a scent of formaldehyde. In the center of the room, removing gloves, is Anand. And the kindred that Marcus said was a Valkyrie. Marie de Richet. Oh. I expected you all would take in the comfort a while long, but it is nice to see that you all are up so early.
Yeah. It's good to be up.
And Marie chimes in. It very well can be if you utilize it to the best of its potential. Shall we retire to the office? There's the matter to negotiate your price and perhaps your continued service.
Okay.
Where's market?
Safe.
Oh, why'd you say it like that?
Where?
Safe. There is a matter and a repayment that he is attending to. But you three, well, believed 4, but it seems as if the doctor is not as formidable as you all are. Right this way.
Purposely leaving. I could have been to keep herself calm.
Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll resolve plus composure? Deep breathing and counting to 1,000 normally works. However, under the strain of certain stressors, it's just not enough. There's a growl emanating from Ben. It's coming from that dark, cold place where things die. And anyone with any working faculties knows what comes next. There is exactly one action. What is everyone doing?
Well, Leonetti, hearing that gets a little bit, gets spooked from the sound of death. Just for a second, but then remembers it. Of what it is. An angry creature. And slowly just backs away from our resident heavy hitter.
Mason does the opposite. He walks up, sees Ben's in distress, and puts a hand on her shoulder and tries to calm her down.
How is he trying to calm her down?
He'll say and try and persuade Ben it's all right. They probably need Marcus more than we do. It's going to be okay. It's very ominous, but you gotta try to calm down.
Not a very well phrased argument, but the effort is what counts. So would you be so kind as to go ahead and run your charisma? And either, if you're trying to lie to her, subterfuge. And if you're just trying to convince her, persuasion.
Thank you, nobody. Finally. Oh! Oh, right. That was charisma plus.
That was charisma plus.
Persuasion.
Ah, okay. And Ben, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your... If you are attempting to resist the words, it would be a resolve plus persuasion. If you are trying to resist your beast, it'd be an unspent willpower roll.
Willpower would be without hunger, right? Just willpower.
Yeah, if you're just resisting the beast and turning into the skid, it's just a willpower roll. If you're attempting to shrug off the efforts of Mason to calm you, it'd be a resolve plus persuasion. Which was that?
That was just a willpower. I guess you know what to do.
Here's the funny thing. Your efforts against your beast are nowhere near as resolute as they once were. There is nowhere in that half-hearted attempt internally that the beast should back down. But there is a aphorism that's always tossed out. It's a little chestnut that people always say. Music soothes the savage beast. And Mason's dead melodic voice, the surprisingly warm touch of his dead hand, and the effort that Ben is more than aware of from Mason to restrain the opportunity to let chaos fly, to become awash in the feelings and emotions that might arise, is unashamedly proud. And strangely enough, so too is her beast. And his lilac violet eyes, looking into hers, somehow turns her papier-mâché shield into adamantine. and her beast sits.
You're right. You're right. We are outnumbered, and we are in their territory. If we have the 13, I'm going to trust that we have a person where by every fiber of my being, if there is one here, a place on the bed, oh, there will be nothing.
And I agree, but right now, I feel at my best, and violence is not the answer. So, madam, mind tell us where we are at? Or where we're going?
Well,
Looks to the maid. Or,
we are going into the office. And she points with her hand. Not a finger, not two fingers. She points with her whole hand towards the back of the lab space. There is a wall of glass, and its opaqueness is just dark enough to obfuscate what lies beyond.
everyone ready to go in? And Mason starts
Yeah.
walking towards the door.
Leonetti goes right behind him.
As you all get closer, you realize that it is a strangely sumptuous office. For Mason, this is a old home week. It is the one space that he has entered since making it to this campus where there's not an immediate internal battle with how poorly designed or how de rigueur their decor, or it's just sad looking at functional furniture. But this office has been clearly chosen and styled in a manner that, well, it's just nice to know that there's somewhere where taste matters.
Now, is this excruciatingly beautiful, or is it just right, or it does not trigger my clan Bane?
Oh no, just being here just triggered your clan Bane. Your
Okay.
discipline usage is in fact a 2 dice less.
Yep. That's all
But-
correct.
But instead of penalizing your die pool, what has been happening is any moment where you've entered into a counterpoint with someone else, they've received those 2 dice instead of you losing them.
Oh, okay.
So, as you all enter into the office, for the briefest of moments, as long as you remain inside the office, there aren't any penalties on Mason. And as you all settle into the chairs, Anon takes up a seat closest to the door, and Marie takes up the seat that's most centered to the room. We would like to thank you for your efforts in ending a problem for the region. I'm sure that you all are aware that such dark magics have consequences. There's always a price. There's always a cost. And beings such as Bartleby, instead of paying with his own coffers, extorts those around him. Memories are usually his fuel. Memories and the energy they arise in the victims are usually used to power his abilities. That and, of course, blood. Unfortunately, borrowing power such as that, the emotional weight and the vitae of kindred, the blood of humans, it is the magical equivalent of an oil spill. It sullies the area, it harms the flora, the fauna, and leaves generational effects that others will happen upon. You all have managed to end a risk to the entire ecosystem, and for that we are thankful. Your efforts, more specifically, your prize that you returned with, proof of your abilities, was utilized in revivifying our regent. Regent Rose is once more amongst the land of the damned. He would like to, of course, extend his thanks personally. However, there is another matter we should attend to first.
Let us go to this matter.
Excellent. We were hoping you would view it as such. Bartleby is only one of several. He is their leader and most dangerous. However, he has the unenviable skill to co-opt, coerce, and otherwise usurp fellow warlocks.
That's not good.
No, it is not. And unfortunately, if we are to be quite frank, he has a cancer. And he has unfortunately had the opportunity to set his tenterhooks into our community. There are 3 other mages, 3 other warlocks, who we believe may have fallen prey to Bartleby. We would like you all to do to them what you've done to Bartleby.
Mason activates awe and looks at the man, like at his, making eye contact with him.
With Marie de Richet? With Marie de Richet? Or Anand?
Yes. Like non-hostile. Like.
Just to get attention.
Like, to try and fully get his attention to what Mason's words, there's like words he's saying.
And what is Mason saying?
Now, sir, we would be delighted to take... Madam, sorry. We would be delighted to take out these warlocks for you, but I ask for 2 things in return. One, you tell us what Marcus is doing, and the other, just make sure we get out of here alive once we're done. No more strings. You catch me?
No, I do not. 1. Magister Farmer leaves when he chooses. We are hoping that he might lead you on this mission. But if he chooses to remain here in the Chantry, that is in fact his decision. And as far as you leaving alive, you're not alive now. So that we are clear, we will not consider purifying your bodies, ensuring that you are free of any spiritual attacks, any demonic entities, ensuring that you receive the fullness of a hospitality and were satiated. We do not consider this part of the payment. Of course, for his connections and ensuring that we met, Don Pompeo has been paid handsomely. However, he also gave leave that you are to negotiate your own fee. Asking for something that is impossible, however, is not good faith. If we meant you harm, if we meant any of you harm.
Oh, I believe you mean us no harm. What I mean is that I don't want to make a deal that will end up hurting me and my career down the line. Now, I know having you as is a powerful ally. That is all I ask. That we are allies, but not that equals. Not that that we are your lackeys. That's basically what I'm trying to get at.
We wouldn't consider you lackeys. Mercenaries, perhaps, but not lackeys. Most certainly not villains.
Then...
What did you call Marcus?
Magister Farmer. We understand that you all have relations prior to this fact. However, we strongly believe in titles and respect.
Who was mentioned in the United? Do you understand what they're saying right now? Because I understand what they're saying right now. Do you
No clue.
what they're saying right now?
First time I've ever heard of that name.
Title. Magister means he is part of the Chantry now. He's considered a Tremere now.
Oh. Interesting.
Well, that means Farmer has much more of a complicated history than me. Well, or let's just say equally complicated. Anyways.
Well.
So. Yes, Leo?
This is intriguing, but it is not my job to gawk over the system of vampires, the vampire system. It's my job to get hired and usually kill my targets. But this will cause a problem if Marcus is gone.
We don't believe so. We've managed to place your device in a temporary stasis. If it is your dead man switch or your final option, we'd prefer it not go off while you are inside the chantry.
Interesting. And I commend you for your carefulness, but we didn't mean to do so. We had no plan of doing such thing.
Oh. It is not quite often that we have come across such handiwork. We give
Not that I know, at least.
kudos to whoever devised it for you.
Marcus was the creator.
Magister Farmer created your device. Was he responsible for implanting it as well?
That
Wait,
is
my device?
unknown to us.
Yes, the device in your chest.
Oh shit. I forgot about that.
Wait,
That was something different. I don't even know what it is.
What device?
The incendiary device in his chest.
Probably meant for me. More for me than you.
but where the stuff did it come from?
People who don't really trust me. Obviously.
That had a lot to do with the action last night, didn't it?
No, that's been there for a while. I think. Hey, when you're a gun for, I think I know where it came from, but I don't know. I don't know exactly. That has happened. People have put things into my chest multiple times throughout my career. At this point, when they require me to do surgery, I just accept it and go on.
Oh. I guess that is what we get for hiring a Ravnos. Anyways.
I had nothing to do with that.
Oh well. His services have been quite exquisite so far, and so I'd say he's doing a good enough job. So, madam, do we have names of these warlocks or a picture of their faces? Anything we can go off of?
Of course. We have a full dossier. It's being presented to Magister Farmer now. We were hoping you would accept, and we're hoping that he leads your expedition. But either way, we are prepared to offer you not simply a trivial boon, but a minor one. We are prepared to offer you financial remuneration equal to what the Don negotiated for Bartleby for the completion of removing all 3 warlocks from the Gary area by whatever means you all deem necessary.
Now, I don't mean to be selfish to my coterie, but money's not exactly an issue for me. What is an issue for me is that lately I've burned some bridges that I need to build back up. I would rather have your backing, if that makes any sense, like your favor in any type of elections that will happen soon enough in Gary, since the prince has been missing for quite some time. or I think it's time to select a new one.
And for your assistance in these small matters, you would like us to throw our support behind you for which position?
Why, the best position of all. Of course, once I become prince, I can help you with even more tasks. And give you more influence that you deserve.
We will offer you all the support that we can.
I shall take that, then. I thank you. But I don't mean to be rude to my other party members, my allies here. Is that okay with you? Swapping the payment out for influence?
I'm good. I'm good with that for now. This time.
Mason looks to Ben.
The chickens don't care one way or the other. I just want to get out of here, and I want to find out who the fuck fits my boots.
I thank you then. So yes, I'd much rather have your influence as much as you can give.
Then we have an agreement. And Miss Marsh, your items are being purified. Once they have been cleaned and protected, they will of course be returned to you. As a matter of fact, while not your belongings, Marie stands and moves to the office door. When she opens it, standing outside the glass door is Marcus, his hair only minorly disheveled, his goatee trimmed to very sharp, immaculate points. There's a floral cravat beneath his white shirt and three-piece suit that he's wearing. He's wearing his honest to goodness 3-carat diamond cufflinks.
Don't say it. He's looking at Ben and Mason.
So what? So you might be flowers over there? That's what flowers say.
If you start laughing, I'm converting all your cars to automatics.
Yes, please don't.
Let's see what you want.
Magister Farmer, Marie says with a small inclination of her head. This is our newest acolyte Worth, Magister Farmer, and our mercenaries in your most recent coterie. We'll leave you a moment to discuss things. And Marie and
Before
Anand exit.
before he closes the door, he says, "Just make sure nobody comes close to the door while we talk."
Of course.
And he closes the door behind him.
So, you become a magistrate now. Intriguing.
It's a little more involved than that. Okay, I don't know what you guys woke up to, but I just had a meeting with Combe, and he presented me to the Chantry as his adopted child.
Wow. Intriguing.
It means
Good for you.
Well, it's based on an old Chinese idea where nobles could adopt other adults into their family, and then that person becomes a member of the noble family. So, what he's done is put me out of reach of the Ventru unless my actual blood sire is willing to take the political hit of admitting that his blood couldn't breed true. It means I don't have to worry about those bastards anymore.
Well, congratulations then.
But it also means that him taking me on as a childer means everything I do reflects directly on him. And to make matters, I don't know if it's worse or better, but he presented me in front of Helena, who, as I understand it, is ancient from a Tremere standpoint. And this carries the force of the Chantry for everywhere, not only where he holds sway, but where she holds sway. So,
She better not duck in then, huh?
you know, it would help a lot if you weren't enjoying this so much.
That name, Helena. I've heard it before, but I don't think by any kindred standards.
Well, there was Helena of Troy,
Yeah,
but I don't know if it's that Helena. She could fit the bill. I remember my Greek history, and yeah. Wow.
yeah.
But
So do I.
there's
Please stay professional, sir.
there's a more local Helena, from my understanding, with the pretty ones, whatever they're called, roses or tulips or your people, Mason.
My people. That's true.
But it's not her. This is a totally separate individual, and I'm a little scared of the warlocks in this building. I'm terrified of her.
Of course. But don't worry about your reputation falling from me. I'm no longer feeling murderous. I can't anymore.
I'm not so much worried about that in the fact that I don't want to dress like this every day.
Neither do I.
Who would?
I look down at my three-piece, $15,000 Armani, whatever nightmare I'm in, with the cravat, and then at the monochromatic assemblage before me, and I realized for the first time ever, I'm better dressed than Mason.
Yes.
Yes, Ben.
So, my sleep. And they touched me while I was asleep. I just get how that makes me feel. When I woke up, there was a stone sleeping on a cot. In bed.
I woke up in silk boxer shorts and a 4-poster bed. Yeah. I did ask about you guys as soon as I woke up, though. I did. Yes.
Yeah.
So I think.
So they told you what they want from us, right?
Yes. We are taking down some warlocks.
Yes.
Okay, well, first things first, I've had about 7.5 seconds of training as a warlock. So, if you guys have decided to take this on, just realize...
I have to.
Well, just realize that the people we're going after, they're going to know my title, and they're going to expect me to be able to do certain things, so they're going to come after me with that mindset. They're not
So
going
they
to
overestimate us.
Well, they're going to side estimate us. So there's a chance, a probability that they're going to prepare incorrectly for us, and we should take maximum advantage of that.
Yes. This is good.
And since they're not here listening, I just want to make things clear. They, and I think this might be partially a political ploy from Cone, they have made, in their minds, me in charge of the group. But we have to all remember, it's been Ben that's been holding us together. It's been Ben that's been making the bigger sacrifices. So if and when we go, I'm still Marcus. I'm still the nerd from the factory. Ben is basically going to call a lot of the shots.
Yes.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
And as long as we have to hold to that fallacy, we can keep that amongst ourselves. That way,
Obviously.
the other wizards aren't going to freak out. Because the reason they're trusting us with this is they think I'm in charge. But when we get out of here, we're sneaking into the factory because I got to get my clothes back. This cravat is strangling me. I'm wearing more money than I am comfortable with.
Yes, and I need my clothes too.
So we're all agreed?
Yes.
When we're in public, when we're around Tremere, use my title because it makes them happy. And I'm
Yes,
quote unquote
magistrate.
in charge. Every other time, Ben's going to be making the calls. Unless somebody has a brilliant idea, because we have always done better when everybody throws in ideas.
Yes. This chaotic, this mess of a coterie, it is quite effective.
Okay, so everybody put on their game faces, and let's see if we can get Mason in his clothes and Ben in her boots. And at that point, Marcus heads towards the door and opens it.
Marie is standing there.
I think we're ready to receive our final information and instructions.
Excellent. She enters in. As we spoke, the 3 warlocks we believe have fallen sway to Bartleby. Richard Tabor, Nigel Porter, Antonio Calbalarshi. These 3 are formerly of the Crescent City. They arrived only within the last 3 years and have been operating out of Chicago. Recently, they've been noticed in Gary. Their efforts, while helpful in leading the hunters astray and helpful in arranging distractions, as of late have been lacking. They have been spotted associating with several mortals connected with Bartleby. And so, knowing his penchant for breaking warlocks, leading them astray, it is better to cut off the arm than lose the entirety of our body.
Understood.
So, the thought is that we attack these 3, and Bartleby's continued influence, even post-dismemberment, will be greatly limited.
Yes.
Sounds like a plan.
And they've been seen in the Gary area.
1 sec, an earthquake is happening.
What's happening?
An earthquake, it's like really shaky. I'm just muting.
Okay. Well, we'll take that as a message from the big guy that perhaps we should take a quick 10-minute. It is 59 after the hour. I'll see you all back here at 11 after the hour. So, to paraphrase the quick little debriefing from Marie, from Magister Dirichet, the 3 warlocks that you all are targeted with driving from Gary, in whichever manner you all choose, whether that is permanently or as permanently as you can make it, them leaving Gary is the key. Them no longer operating in Gary is the key. They have various connections to the community. Gary, unlike Dalton, unlike Riverdale, unlike much of the south side of Chicago, is not as inundated with the network of evangelical, Catholic, Presbyterian, and various other religious churches. And the difference between the regular church and the religious church is that religious churches or storefront churches are so enmeshed and embedded in the community that secondary to barbershops and actual community centers, they are the hubs of their environments. All three of the warlocks, Kyle Belarshi, Porter, Tabor, are part of an interconnected groupings of minor storefront religious churches. The effects they have on their communities, well, if it's bent against the drives and goals of the chantry, or bent against the drives and goals of the community, would act as a fifth column to whatever Gary is attempting to build itself into. Whether the anarchs come out on top, whether the tower comes out on top, they have laid the groundwork to lay either or both of them low. Or at least Bartleby had. And with them believed to be his cat's paws in the world at large, it is very highly likely that they will continue his aims, even with him being destroyed by the Coterie.
We know Bartleby liked.
Well, that's what happened. Well, let's take out these guys who refuse to stay down like the dogs they are.
Well, we know what Bartleby liked to use. He used mind traps.
Now, let's be careful. Let's try not to cause too much ruckus. I know that says a lot coming from me. But we should probably keep this on the down low.
To the best of our abilities. I agree.
So you're saying fewer explosions. That's basically your thinking?
So, Marcus, you got in a room at times. And I have some questions. Maybe whether, Tuesday, where do you want to take the bird?
Yeah, that is something I would like to know as well. What is your goal?
It's been my goal for quite some time, although it was a side goal for the most part. But I feel like it's something I need to do. I don't know why. It seems to be my calling. If I have more influence, then I can help the Finns, and also I feel like I could deal with things better.
But did you say
Well, the high side.
Well, I mean, that would give him a much greater deal of power. And he would be the man on top of the local area, of the city.
I'd also get more information about everything on ongoings.
And that is beneficial for you.
And for the Coterie.
But wait.
Exactly, like whoever you're questing after, I'll probably be able to
Prince?
catch
Hold on a minute.
them easily.
More easily.
Wait. Wait.
Ah,
Wait.
I'll do the best.
Just a moment.
Well, let's
English
go
isn't
along
my
with
strong
this.
suit.
Prince?
Easilier.
Prince Mason?
Okay.
I speak English. So I'm sorry. It's hard to be.
Prince Mason?
Okay. So, let's try to track down these three.
Wait,
I prefer
wait.
to hunt them down.
Wait. I'm still stuck on the Prince Mason?
Yes, Marcus.
Yeah, that was the agreement.
Okay.
We would kill them
right.
for them to support him
right.
to the best of their abilities
Uh-huh.
in the election to vote
If
a
there's
new
an election.
prince.
Okay. First of all, Prince means tower.
Yes.
Okay. None of us are the member of a tower. None of us have
Well,
ever been the member.
I have ties to the tower.
Okay. But Prince? Okay. I agreed to a lot of things when I was in Cone's room, talking to the regent. The word prince never came up. So what you guys are talking about is an agreement made.
This is all me.
This is all you. Okay then.
Yes. I want to become the prince, so we have Camarilla allies once again.
But that would immediately make us the enemy of all of the rebels and about half of the independents. I'm just putting it out there. I'm not saying it's a bad thing that you become prince. I'm saying it's a questionable thing that there will be a prince.
I'm saying it's a very bad thing if you become prince. I'm not going to fucking sugarcoat it. Are you serious? You fought to stay independent. You fought to stay out of the bullshit. You want to run right into it? And be the fucking stars in it? Yeah, you lost too much fucking mind.
But have I really? If I'm in charge, then my people can't get hurt as easily.
But it's Gary. There hasn't
Yes.
been a Prince of Gary in total control as long as I can look back. And admittedly, that's not as far as some other people. But this has always been a two-sided city. If you become prince, that leaves the barony open. And we won't
Yes.
have control.
Then why doesn't Bin become Baron? Then we can make the Camarilla and the Anarchs possibly allies once again. They were.
Declaring praxis.
Yeah, I think I think it's become barren because Ben knows better. Ben wants to know motherfucking part of that.
And I'm not a good part of that.
If this is a big if we want to get behind the idea of a praxis and put Mason in as the face of that praxis, to keep Gary what it was, we also need to find somebody that wants the job and is going to be supported by the Anarchs to take the job of Baron. And
I doubt that I would be a good job. So, let's.
What about that Malkavian fellow? What was
You're
his
right,
name?
he could be good.
Which
He was
one?
insane, yes, but I feel
Arthur?
like yes, I think that was his name.
The crazy bomb maker that runs the bookshop?
The one, the driver.
survivor.
Malkavian, I'm pretty sure.
This is wrong. But if you're part of these decisions, remember the fucking brain. This is making more sense.
Well, no, I mean, Ben, I know that you and I have serious problems with the idea of Praxis and the tower. But Gary ran for decades with Mobius and Juggler. If we could figure out our own combination of Mobius and Juggler, it could go back to what it was.
Exactly.
We just need a juggler. I mean, in all of the things we've done, and all the work we've done, we've managed to either ignore or annoy the Anarchs. But with the work that Cohen has put before me, we have an opportunity to make Gary what it was and to lock it down. And whether Mason succeeds in his call for Praxis in the face of, well, everything, because the Vanguard is still here and the Vanguard answers to Chicago. So anybody we put forward would have to be acceptable to them. Which means talking to Silk again. But if we find somebody to carry that mantle of Praxis, we would also have to present somebody to the Anarchs that could take the mantle of Baron. And I know you hate the idea, but you have the history, Ben. And from what I remember of Juggler, that job isn't nearly as political as Mobius's job was. And at this point, Marcus refuses to make eye contact with Ben.
It would also be good for everybody, for less war. We just have to make that happen.
Well, I mean, step one is obviously the two most powerful individuals in the city are going to be the Regent of the Chantry, which is Cone, and Silk, who has the best blood source and the most social control. If you can sell them on that, that gets you a lot closer. So if we complete this mission for the Chantry, then it just becomes a matter of talking to Silk. Because the Vanguard has taken losses. They lost aces. David has been hands-off since you guys met with him, along with Cassandra. I guess those two were working together. And this mysterious sharp person I've never met. He's completely off the radar. So if we can convince Rose and Silk...
About that.
What did you do, Mason?
I think we might have a way to get influence in the Camarilla. Well, at least me. When I gave up Marion's phone number to the Hunters, they decided to call it, and it was not Marion. I forget who it was, but they mentioned Silk's place now. And I'm pretty sure they now know that Silk is a vampire. We can rescue her from them.
If we rescue her, that would mean something.
Exactly.
If we let her know she needed to be rescued as we're doing it, that would be better. I mean, you gave them the number. Did they give you information to contact them?
I don't believe so because Leonetti. Well, actually, I kind of left with a bullet wound. I'm pretty sure they're not going to talk to me again.
Okay, so you gave them the number, but then you ran away, and they tried to kill you while you were running.
Exactly.
'Cause that's
More or less, that's what happened.
well, I mean,
Leonetti,
Yeah.
you're gonna let him gloss over the fact that you rescued him?
I'm fine with that.
as long as the check clears, right, Leo?
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah. Oh.
so we have the sash are a random asset in the city. We have them possibly targeting Silk. We have the mission before us, which will get us good in with the Chantry. I mean, I'm already good in with the Chantry, but us as a group good in with the Chantry. We have the beginnings of a plan. But I think there has to be a part 2. Somebody, and I'm looking at Ben for the first time in 4 or 5 minutes of conversation, has to talk to them and wake them up to what's going on, because they are just flailing around. And I'm not talking about talking to Arthur. Arthur is unstable, but rich, but unstable. We need to talk to the leadership and let them know what we think should happen for the city and what it could mean for them. Between Ben and Mason, I think we can make a saleable idea on that side. If they have a say in who the new juggler is, you know, if we can't convince Ben to do it, once again, not looking at Ben, I think that Mason's praxis will hold a lot more water.
I know we've already have done a lot. You've done a lot for us already, Ben. But I think this is gonna be big.
It won't be Baron, but I know somebody that want to take Will's doing Will's job before Juggler went missing. I'll talk to the Anarchs, and I will see if she's willing to step up.
Thank you, Ben.
But as a whole, do we see this as a workable outcome? We take these 3 wizards, kill them, run them off, make them take a vacation to Cabo, whatever. They're gone. And now the Chantry is pushing for Mason. Then we have to work on the Silk angle and try to make her see that Mason's praxis holds weight versus whatever Sharp has planned, which I think we might be able to sell since the Vanguard has taken so many hits lately. Then we fold in this mysterious Anarch from Ben do we see this? Okay, it's 5-year-old time. Turn on your 5-year-old brain, look at the plan, and tell me where it falls apart.
I
It relies
see
too
one
much.
popular-
It relies too much on the guarantee that we have the better idea in their eyes.
In whose eyes, though? Specifically, whose eyes are we?
Sarah,
The anarchs, the tower, or the vampires in general?
well, specifically, I was going to say Sarah. What's her name? The one we're going right after.
Silk.
Silk?
Silk. Yeah.
That is the convincing part. That is the part where Mason's going to have to sell
Yeah.
himself. And
My
Mason...
5-year-old self gunning for Prince is a big thing, and it's probably going to be known to every city, nearby city ever, which means Marion.
Yeah, that is... I mean, you've never gone into great detail about what that social dynamic looks like.
Knowing her, it's a flip of a coin. She'll either support me or be mad at me because I left her, and support the others.
But what others are there? I mean, that's the thing. This sharp person, whoever the hell he is, doesn't seem to want the job. The Vanguard just seems to be pounding the sand to see what pops up, getting ready for somebody else to come in under the tower's guise. Do you think you can sell Silk on your loyalty to the tower? I mean, it's been a while for you, and your interaction with the tower is basically limited to dealing with Marion, yeah?
Correct.
So,
And I would say it's choppy at best, but I think I can make it work.
okay, so it's going to be you in front of Silk, Ben in front of the Anarchs. I think Leonti is best served backing you up.
Couldn't think of a better sheriff.
And I can back up Ben with the Anarchs because most of them have hired me more than once. And with my new standing within the Chantry, I can carry some weight, and the Chantry is neither Anarch nor Tower, realistically. Until there's a prince and the regent can declare for the prince. So before you take office and Rose declares the Chantry for the tower, my status as a magister makes me a little better with her. And I realize all of you don't know Griswold as well as, well, you probably don't know Griswold as well as I do. But I met him about a decade ago. But he isn't completely aware of the fact that he met me. Whichever group needs a better liar is going to need Duma. So I'm thinking, Mason, I think you're going to need Dr. Griswold on your end of things.
I agree. But there's a problem.
What?
He's still passed out.
Well, he makes me look like an old vampire. So there's a reason for that. But once he's awake, he would definitely give you a run for your money for distracting, disseminating disinformation, sidetracking. Having him with you around Silk will be a lightning rod for some of her more advanced abilities of subterfuge.
Well, I think now's the time we go after the warlocks.
Yeah.
I think step one is in the offing. Because the whole plan could come apart at any point. So, I mean, we've seen the plan, the 5 years from now version of things. But you're right, it's time to look at the 5 minutes from now version.
Time to take that first step. And isn't it always fun when it's chaotic?
We know Bartleby was a master manipulator of the mind. We don't know what these three specialize in. Whether they're combat oriented or mental oriented or raise a bunch of zombies and kick our ass oriented. We don't know. So, do we want to use...
All we know is that they're warlocks.
You think the Chantry would like if maybe we could convince them to join back?
I think...
That's not our job.
I think the Chantry is hiring us because they don't want to throw in. But we should be able to get information about what their areas of study were. And then take advantage of the fact that they think I'm a wizard.
Now, do we do the friendly approach? Or the
I mean, given
non-friendly?
with these three, if they're trained by Bartleby, given the choice between carrot and stick, I'm still leaning towards the stick method.
My favorite.
It would
Well,
be,
I'm leaning toward the carrot, but we usually leave these type of things up to you, Ben.
I mean, do we want to get more information from the Chantry? And decide on each one individually?
I thought would have had them quoting labs when they were going over these. Well, that didn't come up. Nobody asked, hey, what are they good at?
Yeah, that's our fault.
I got a little distracted by the whole Prince discussion. I blame Mason.
Oh well.
So, what are we looking at? I think with the lack of information about their individual abilities, we should stick to the stick unless the carrot presents itself very obviously.
Okay.
But be ready with the carrot. I mean, you and Duma, you got all kinds of carrots.
And hopefully they'll be up for persuasion then.
And if not, we've got Leonti and me.
Hey, I'm also shabby with a knife.
Yeah, but it's hard to talk with a knife in your hand. I'm just saying.
Exactly. But a pen, on the other hand, that's innocent.
That damn pen.
What? I've had it for over 90 years now.
So let's retreat to the factory because it seems that we were able to get in there again and prepare ourselves.
So, in the conversation on the way to the factory, there is a lot of truth, a lot of hope, and no real plan in regards to how to tackle the 3 warlocks. The question is to what they might be good at, and the idea of going in heavy being the primary factors, the primary pillars upon which this instance is built. So dressing far more comfortably for themselves, instead of looking very much what the Chantry believed the good Coterie should be. Unified in theme and presenting a singular image. The Coterie heads for which location first?
After we hit the factory and Marcus changes into his human clothes as opposed to his Magister clothes. I think we'll deal with them. Hold on. Let me find the right. I think our best efforts for the stick versus the carrot might start with Nigel. First of all, because I hate that name. That's a stupid name.
What about Dick? Sorry, Richard.
Richard? No. He's skinny and weirdly elfish. I think the carrot might be a way to go with him. But if we can beat Nigel and get information about the other 2, that might be our best bet.
Would be beneficial.
You're right.
And Nigel definitely, I mean, the picture, yikes.
Oh, where is this picture?
It's in the folder they gave me that I have been holding and not sharing with everyone. So Nigel, from the picture, there aren't a lot of them, but he's just like this brick of a human frame. Red hair, tiny beady little eyes. He just, of the 3, he looks angry.
Oh, I see.
So, but if we can beat Nigel, it'll give us an opportunity, hopefully if we don't, tear his head off right at the nut, we can get information about the other 2. And hopefully some carrot opportunities present themselves.
Hopefully.
I would prefer, honestly, I like the carrot idea. I just don't know how well it's going to work against wizards. Wizards are subtle and
Wait a second.
quick to anger.
Speaking of wizards, Nigel's last name is quite funny.
Okay, now you get the joke. I throw out Hermione, and not a giggle. But now, really? It's not even spelled right.
Whatever. I've read the books a long time ago.
So, we're still using this goddamn van. I hate this van.
We can use my Audi.
What, with a shoehorn? There's 5 of us.
Do you want to buy a new car?
I mean,
At 2 o'clock in the morning in Gary, you want to try to buy a car?
That's why I'm asking. Because either we buy a new car or we suck it up and use the van.
Yeah, you just like vans because you can carry the big guns.
Well, I mean, we can still get
That
a van
may be
that's nice and
true.
luxurious.
So,
I know some car dealerships that are still open right now. They sell the best cars.
no, we're not using the best cars. It's Gary. If we roll up in a $50,000 SUV, everybody's gonna look.
50,000. More like 200,000.
Oh, sweet Jesus. Just get in the back and pull out your pen. So Marcus is driving.
Okay.
And these are assumptions, but Mason and Leonti are in back, and
Yeah.
Ben is forward with me.
It's fine to me.
Well, I figure
Windows.
I've had the most recent practice driving. Leonti has the big ass guns, and Ben is going to need a way to get out in case she has to go into her favorite form.
I almost asked, how did you know that? But then I realized you said form and not position.
You're a bad man. A bad, bad man.
Well, I'm not the newly christened magister who had the ability to, well, was given the opportunity to forward past 2 different mysteries. Much like they did jumping ahead educationally. I'm not the person who, for both tactical and non-tactical reasons, would much rather have been in there as their shotgun. Proximity.
Yeah, bite me.
Consideration. And as you all make your way across the city, there is a disconcerting fact that up until recently, the presence of so many police officers on the street would have been cause for even more alarm. The sad fact about mankind, and by extension kindred kind, is that with enough bombardment of stimulus, they can adapt to anything. They can become accustomed to anything. And it is only as Leonti is sitting with a sniper rifle across his lap, as the city blurs by, that you realize how much you all have managed to adapt and adjust to the new status quo. There's not even any attempt to cover the sniper rifle. You're accustomed to the police officers being there. So the discomfort that would attract attention doesn't exist. The discomfort that you all would have had just as little as a week ago, passing by so many police officers, isn't there. And as you all ease to a stop, roughly a half a block from Galilee, where you know Magister or Master Porter resides. It is a fortress in design. Most people wouldn't pick up on the fact that there are only two ways in on ground level. Most people wouldn't realize that the blocky bricked facade offers a minimum opportunity to view what's happening inside. You can tell that the lights are on. You can't tell what's happening inside. The hidden 2 stories of the building, plus the space in the actual tower, means there could be any number, and any possibility of numbers of people, or hidden caches of this, that, and worse. And so from the outside, it is very much a mystery.
I think he used the same real estate agent that I did.
What? Old and decrepit?
No, old and thick. We're not going to
Same
get
thing.
on the ground floor. I mean, this might as well be the factory with a cross on top of it.
The hunter's still brought in. So why can't
The hunter
Did they really get in?
numbered us.
Well, then why don't we just knock?
Start with the carrot.
Why not? Just because he looks big and burly doesn't mean he acts all tough.
I think I could get behind that. I mean, far, far behind that.
So which door? The 2 security doors that are right there beneath that glass cross, or the rear door? How would you all like to take him? Right up the middle, or from behind?
I lean over to Finn. I'm like, Finn, do you want to see if there's a way in on top?
I'm gonna do that instead. I'm gonna see if anything sounds or smells weird before you go knocking on the door, but maybe if you're knocking, it will distract whoever's inside and I can slip in and get some intel, is what they call it, yeah.
Okay, so let's go knock on heaven's door.
Oh my god, you've been waiting all day to say that. And at this point, I let Mason and Leonte use the carrot entrance while Ben is doing her thing, or their thing. Marcus is going to stay in the van and see which way he should go once things start kicking off.
Before Marcus hops out of the van, he asks Marcus. Did I say Marcus? Before Mason hops out of the van, he asks Marcus, is there a clipboard?
Clipboard. I got a pen and some paper.
The paper, then.
Sweet Jesus. And I give it to him.
And as you all exit the van, and Ben takes flight, we draw to a close as the coterie gets closer to the church. And in a little voice, the back of Marcus's mind. Screams. Good night, everybody. Thanks for showing up. We'll see you guys on our next episode.